Oh my goodness, what is up, Buckeye Nation? You know who's in the house tonight? My brother from another mother. Buckeye Scoop is his own their own. Brandon Moses B. Moses, how you doing, brother? Drinking from the Ohio State cup, I'm seeing.
Got the,
Oh, B. Moses. Okay, got the
well,
Buckeye
no,
color.
it's both and
Oh, okay. All right, it's
you know what I'm
customized. I
saying.
like that.
Had
All
to
right.
had to get the customized joint, but I'm good, man. I wanted to rock my Columbus Crew tee today and represent and all
Is that the
that. But
soccer
yeah,
team?
yep, that is the
I was about to
professional
say you're so
soccer
much
team.
cooler than me, but you just ruined it. So, my
Hey,
goodness.
I'm going to rep my hometown every way I can. And well, until the Blue Jackets actually get good again, then I'll start rocking their stuff. But
I
anyway,
don't know anything about hockey.
me neither.
So I don't know. Oh man, I see them starting to pile in the group chat. Eric's with us, of course, the remaining the Ohio podcast chat as well. We're going to talk about some specific things tonight. We might get a little bit into the weeds, but we're going to try to keep it a little bit light. I'm going to preface everything we say tonight about offensive strategy is basic. We're not getting like crazy. We're not getting the whiteboard out. It'd be fun to do that. I started taking notes earlier, Brandon. And I was like, this is getting too deep. Let's just keep it simple. Holy jeez.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, we're going to talk about Tyler Bowen. I know we all know who he is. We all know where he came from. We all know a little bit about his background. And we know he's a good recruiter because that's everybody's complete focus right now that he's a recruiter. And to his credit, it looks like he's on it recruiting now. He is just casting a wide net.
Oh yeah.
Um, Brandon, what do you think? Let's get this out of the way. Why not? I'm going to shoot this at you cold, Brandon. What do you think about his recruiting strategy so far? Seems to be a lot different than years past.
I love it. I mean, to me, even in our little group chat, the debate about Justin Fry and what's fair and what's not fair, the one thing I think we all agreed on for the most part was casting a wider net.
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing to lock in on 5 elite guys you love, but I mean, come on, dog. Like you gotta just get out there a little more. And not only do I love the net he's casting, I'm loving the responses from the recruits. Now I know recruits are you're gonna say, well, the recruits are gonna say nice things. Nah, some of these comments are a little specific to me
Mm-hmm.
to where it's like, hey, this dude is doing some work. The impression is real. It's not coming off like like you're reading from a cue card, like Tyler Bowen stopped by my school today and it was awesome. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it sounds like realistic, good
Yeah, he
impressions.
seemed like a
So
nice guy. Yeah, he was. Yeah, whatever. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. It
nah,
wasn't the
nah,
basic.
I love it.
Yeah.
But he had a reputation of being a good recruiter anyway, and it's just starting to kind of show that his reputation precedes him.
Yeah, I completely agree. And the funny thing is like I gotta tell you, Brandon, as a contractor, when I want to get 5 jobs lined up, I don't just send out 5 bids. I send like 25 bids.
Right. Like, come on, man. This is common knowledge.
I mean, I don't know if it's laziness on Fry's part or he's like, look, I'm a developer. I don't recruit or whatever. Because obviously he took it. He took his. I don't blame him for going to the NFL. It's like, oh, this is off me now. The GM's going to supply me with players, and I'm just going to try to make them as best as I can within the role of the offense. And he got to keep. Then he gets to coach Paris Johnson Jr. for a
Yeah.
large chunk of his NFL career. Paris Johnson Jr. In fact, is slowly becoming one of the best tackles in the league.
Yeah.
So, hey, that's a feather in the cap to Greg Studd, to Justin Fry, Ohio State, and Paris himself, obviously putting in the work and getting it done. He is living up to the hype as that 5-star hype out of Ohio. So anyway, we got the recruiting thing out of the way. He's doing a good job. We like his recruiting so far.
So far,
Agreed.
so good. Yep.
Consensus is agreed. Here's going to be the interesting thing we talk about tonight, Brandon. We're going to talk about what is his impact on the run game at Ohio State. I do want to, by the way, do want to focus. Eric's right. Smash. You said smash last night, Eric. I was disappointed. Smash that like button. If you like what you see, it helps the algorithm, helps the channel grow. Appreciate you guys. And you got a compliment on your shirt.
Even if you don't like what you see, smash it anyway. Come on now. Come on.
Exactly. It doesn't take long. It's not hard.
Thanks, Stilly Mac. Stilly Matt in the chat. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
So we got some stuff to talk about tonight because I'll tell you what, man. Looking him up, it's a little interesting that I'm not going to sit here and say he specifically has a different philosophy than Ryan Day, but it is a little tilted more towards one type of run play or run scheme than what Ryan Day typically is. And it's a little interesting because or I must have called you Dylan. Jeez, I'm sorry. I apologize profusely for that one.
That's funny.
Anyway, you guys just look so much alike. That's what it is. Anyway, inside joke there, guys.
If y'all knew Dylan, that would be hilarious. But go ahead.
You'd be laughing your tails off right now. Brandon, why don't you fill us in real quick? What is okay? This is typically what Ryan Day likes to do, right? Why don't you fill us in? What does Ryan Day like to do in the run game? What's his big feature in the run game?
So yeah, I mean Ryan Day, when he came in here, he was a zone scheme guy. He was a zone running scheme guy, inside zone, outside zone, stretch, all of that stuff. That's what
Everybody
he liked
loves the
to
stretch zone, by the way. That's really popular.
do. But see, it's funny, man, because we fell off, and I don't want to get ahead of myself, but Bowen, we're going to get into this.
Mhm.
Bowen is a clear sign of the resurgence of elite level zone running scheme. And so I'm going to take y'all back to 2019 and 2018 for that matter, to kind of refresh y'all's minds on what a good zone running scheme looks like. J.K. Dobbins, ladies and gentlemen. Can you remember J.K. Dobbins? Let's just think about a game that everybody remembers, the Clemson game. I
Yep.
know that was a terrible game, how it ended. But
it's a good example of what you're saying right now.
Exactly. It's a great example of a clinic of zone running scheme. The cutback lanes, J.K. Dobbins exploited when our O-line ran that scheme to a T. We were very good at it. Trey Sermon,
Or hurt his ankle.
same thing. Like, just think about that scheme. I'm trying to give you a visual. That's where Ryan Day, that's what he wants to do. And we're going to get into the reasons why. But that's what he wants to do. I know we've been trash at it the past few years. We've been very inconsistent. But that's what he wants to get back to. Enter Tyler Bowen.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to talk about what Tyler Bowen brings, but let's first get into why Ryan Day likes the zone. And I'd say the inside zone is more his core foundation, right?
Yeah.
It's not okay. I'm going to go ahead and preface it. That does not mean we don't run other things, okay?
Yeah, calm down.
I don't want anybody going, no, we ran a gap on that one. We'll get to that. Jeez. But the inside zone is Ryan Day's core. That's what he likes to, emphasis on. In fact, I'll maintain that's why Quinshon Judkins started all year. Everybody wondered why he started over Trevian Henderson. Trevian is not an inside zone guy. He's never been that great at it. But we'll get to Trevian in a little bit. Yeah. But Quinshon is a good inside zone runner. That was his trademark. That's his strength. So why does he start? Why does he get more reps? Because that's what Ryan Day runs. And by the way, Chip Kelly has a history of inside-outside zone as well. So it makes perfect sense. But the reason why coaches, not just Ryan Day, why do they run these zone? I mean, it's like, Brandon, you've heard all the criticism. Why we're finesse, we're weak, we're this, we're that, we're soft. That's a big one. We're soft. I know, Brandon, you've never heard us called soft before. But I mean, believe it or not, it's happened. But you know what, Brandon? I mean, there's several reasons as to why. First of all, it's adaptable. It's simple. You can teach it easily. And there's a million defenses in the Big Ten. And it adjusts to all those defenses all at once. You can play a 4-2-5. You can play a 3-4, 4-3, hybrids, multiple set. You can do all that with the zone. Whereas it's a little more difficult when you're blocking to a gap, like in the gap scheme. But zone allows for several options within the running game. In fact, outside zone, that stretch zone everybody hates, there's a reason Ryan Day does it. To get that defensive line moving from side to side, making them tired, and also allowing the running back to check from the tackle down, right? To give him many options in the run game. Hey, whatever defense they're running, we have a way to combat it, and it's based on the talent of the players.
Yeah.
That's just the best way to coach in today's evolving game, is it not? I mean, it's just, Brandon, you're even keeled, man. You always got a level head. What do you think when people are criticizing the fact we run a lot of zone?
I think, well, first of all, like I said, these past few years, I think the criticism has been more warranted because all people see is that the results haven't been that great, right? And
Mm-hmm.
even against the team up north, I pounded the table with Chaw and a bunch of other people because I actually went back and watched the games, and people were kept. And to this day, people are still saying, "Oh, we ran the ball up the middle 100 times." We did not run the ball up the middle 100 times. Go watch the game. What we did do, probably too much, is the stretch plays, because the film specifically about the team up north, the film dictated that they had struggled at times throughout the season with that type of scheme. Teams, they watch film, they see that Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant are great D tackles, so they would try to run away from them. Even Illinois had some success with that. Other schools had success against the team up north with it. So what do? We tried to do that. We just had terrible execution, which I can go into if I need to, but there's a reason why we tried to do it. We just failed at it against the team. No, we just look lost out there. Going to the second level, trying to find guys to block. We look like a clown show. And so I do believe Bowen, who's a much better teacher with this scheme, will come in and clean that up. And it'll get us back to a place where Ryan Day, like you said, Corey, wants us to be in because of this so many things we can do off of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I mean, that's my statement is don't hate the scheme, understand the reason the scheme is employed, but I can understand you not liking the result of us not executing the scheme, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, it does, and it typically, again, it's I understand why Ryan Day would even use it against the team up north. It wears down defenses typically because you're
Yeah.
moving them laterally all the time. In fact, that's why we tried to stretch that out early on. It minimizes negative plays typically because you're blocking to a zone. You don't have to rely on a key block succeeding in that gap.
Right.
Sometimes you see a play get blown up. You're like, "What happened?" Well, we were running a power and so and
One
so
guy
missed their
missed the block,
block.
got blown.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Instead of combo blocks into the second level, we definitely our combo blocks were horrible against the team up north. By the way,
Yes.
horrible. Um, so anyway, again, over time I grew more with Brandon about execution on that. So, uh, it's interesting, but that's what Ryan Day wants to run, right? So what we do in the playoff, Brandon, I saw the stat
Playoffs.
in playoffs. Yeah, I saw this stat earlier. I couldn't, it blew my mind. In the regular season, we ran about 40 to 45% gap plays, counters, powers, whatever. We playoff came, we ran 70% gap,
Yeah.
powers, mostly counter, I think. But in fact, Trevian scored on quite a couple counters there.
Yep.
Um,
Against Tennessee and others. Yep.
Trevian flourished in that gap scheme. Because I mean, he flourishes anyway. He's great, but at the same time, you got to get him outside in space most of the time. He's not an inside back where he can make a decision in the zone. But I was watching the Tennessee game. Right, the funny part is on that one the second TD where he bounced it outside and then went up the middle and scored.
Yep.
You look at the counter. We were running counter there with Bennett Christian and Ted Shabola, and it completely collapsed. There's no hole there, and he just
Shabola.
but he's
I hope
the trip.
Shabola gets better. Go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying, and Trevian's like, I don't care. I'm Superman. I'll just move this outside.
Right.
But
Right.
in the play against Oregon, I'm pretty sure that was power. I mean, I have to watch it slow mo, but I saw Donnie
It
Jackson
was.
pull. Yeah, thank you.
It was.
So that was again, we went to a more gap scheme a gap run scheme, whatever it was, counter power, whatever. And Chip Kelly liked to say, well, that's because of who we were playing. And I'm like, okay, I buy that to an extent.
Yeah.
But I think the absolute dismal performance against the team up north kind of dictated that Ryan Day said, "No, we gotta change up our philosophy here for at least the playoff system." Now, granted, teams typically use gap schemes against better teams. That's common. But do you think that?
Did I lose you, Corey?
Man,
There you go.
yeah, what bounced off of there? That was weird.
You said, "Do you think poop?" And then you just
I
disappeared.
was weird. Something's playing with us tonight. Do you think that the Michigan game is what caused us to switch it up? We switched it up. Let's be real.
Yes, it is. And this is one of the few times where I feel like, how you analyze something or you predict something or whatever, and it comes to pass and you're like, yeah, I nailed that.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I feel like I nailed this one because Cory, remember, I pointed this out in the second half of the Team Up North game. The two plays, there wasn't many good run plays we had in that game, but the two plays we had were in the second half where
Mm-hmm.
Judkins popped one for 20 and Henderson popped one for like 9. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It was on the drive where I believe we got picked off for the second time, I believe. The point is that both of those plays were counter gap scheme plays.
Mm-hmm.
We went away from the zone in that moment, and we had two back-to-back successful run plays. And so what I said is we need to lean more into that because at the end of the day, it's about execution. You can want to do a scheme because of the benefits that it brings, but you got to know what your personnel is capable of.
Yeah.
So because of the struggling with what we tried to do against Scum, we leaned in to the counter scheme because we could clearly see, oh, the coaches, the O line can execute this well. Let's do more of this. Let's implement this into our game plan. And Tennessee was gap counter heavy,
Yeah.
heavy in the run game, and we were successful with it. So
Extremely.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, bro. Like you, but that's smart coaching. I hate that it cost us the Michigan game, but we won the ship. So whatever.
It's trade-off. See, that's the thing is that typically you use that gap scheme against teams like Michigan with a good defensive front. So here's a question: why didn't we go into the game? Is it one of those questions of like, I know we're overanalyzing a game that happened 3 months ago, but it's going to lead into something, I promise. Uh, Now, do we have to ask ourselves, did they go into that game thinking, well, we're a zone run team, let's stick with what we do, or they just were stubborn? And I mean, what's the reason why they didn't go more gap?
I mean, I'll tell you my thoughts. Again, I've already mentioned a part of it. Watching film and looking into what Scum struggled with throughout the year, what they were susceptible to, it was that running on the edge. It was that moving their defensive line. Everybody knows that their D tackles are good. They have a good
Oh
front.
yeah, they are
And
good.
they, again, some of those teams had success against them with running the zone stretch plays. So obviously, like, okay, we need to do this. So I think that's the first thing. So second thing, listen, anybody who's played sports on any level, when you've had a good week of practice, right?
Mm,
And it looks like your team is executing. They look like they're doing what they're supposed to do, but when they put it out on the court or on the field, it's like, what the heck is this? This is not what we saw in practice. I guarantee you that when we were practicing the game plan, it looked cleaner in
mm,
practice for whatever reason, and it just didn't work out on the field. So there's that. So I think it was really game plan centered as far as this is what will give us the most success against this attack
mhm.
defensively, according to the film and according to their personnel. And so, and it just didn't work out. And then obviously the other things piled on top of it, like the interceptions, missed field
Yeah.
goals, special. You know what I mean? It just piles
10
on.
points off of 5 times in the red zone. That's
Yeah,
that's that's ugly.
exactly. So
Yeah.
you know what I mean. But anyway, so that's what I think it was.
No, I agree. And by the way, I want to mention, guys, I can't see the chat anymore. So if you guys are talking, I apologize. I'm not trying to miss you. It's just not working for me now. It's Eric's fault. Just blame him, please. Like you would blame Canada.
if
Blame.
if you need me to blame
Yeah,
Canada,
exactly.
if you need me to tell you about certain comments that look interesting, I can't bring it up on the screen, but I can tell you because I can see
Yeah,
it.
go ahead and mention them. I just can't. Yeah, I can't see. It's not scrolling for me at all anymore. So, it's happened before, but uh, well, knowing all this, okay, Brandon, we flipped it. We flipped the switch in the playoff to more of a gap scheme, right? And so it figures, with Ryan Day. I mean, I looked at a video of Ryan Day's like what he calls buckets, right? And he was talking about his run buckets, and obviously he had way more in the zone columns than he had in the gap columns. He's more of a zone guy, obviously. But again, I'm not saying we never run gap. He implements it. He does use it. It's not. It's just not his focus. We're going to keep the zone as our foundation with Tyler Bowman coming in. Even though he's a run game coordinator, but he's coaches on some zone. Don't get me wrong, he has. But he's also, what is he known for? He's known for downhill run schemes and emphasis on gap concepts incorporated with the inside zone. He's physical, dominant, downhill blocking is what Tyler Bowen is known for. And so where does Bowen help with Ohio State's run game the most? Short yardage and physicality. Where have we been weak on in the 3rd and 1, red zone? We've been weak trying to get the ball in the end zone when it's inside the 5-yard line. We can't just pound it in. We've also been at struggle with 3rd and 4th and 1 at times, and not every time. It was a little better this past year, but that's been a struggle in Ryan Day's offense before.
Yeah.
And he's going to enhance our gap scheme. We're zone heavy. We're always going to be zone heavy, but he's going to add more counter, power, and trap to diversify the attack. He's going to improve the pulling execution. Expertise. He's expert in teaching linemen how to pull effectively. He's going to make our run gap run more dangerous. And he's also, by the way, Brandon, in the past, he's been known to teach tight ends how to block really well.
Yeah.
And we have a strong tight end room now.
Remind me to say something about that in a minute.
Go ahead.
About the
Yeah,
tight
go
end.
ahead right now.
Oh,
Go ahead.
I was also going to say I'm glad Cory brought that up because in 2019 and 18, for that matter, the tight end blocking was one key piece that most people just didn't really give credit to. Like we had really good blocking tight ends back then, y'all. I mean, that's an extension of the O-line, especially with this zone scheme that is critical. So the fact, and I'm telling y'all, because some people, when they see hires, they just kind of just see a name they never heard of, and he's only 35 and Virginia Tech, and who's this guy?
Yep.
Ryan Day is not a spring chicken anymore. He's officially seasoned. He's
a seasoned
forming.
chicken.
He's a seasoned chicken. Thank you for connecting those dots. Why didn't I think of that before?
I don't know,
You're
man.
a genius.
That's
Genius.
what, when it comes to food, I am a genius. Yes.
Yes, and I'm no slouch with that too. I need to get this belly down, but
You and me
anyway.
both, brother.
But so Ryan Day, he's not just throwing darts at a board and saying, "Give me that, coach." No, like he's doing his research. He knows what he needs. He put Hartline in place, who's the passing game coordinator guy, who's heavy on the passing. Now he's like, okay, I need something to reinforce and undergird this with the run game. Oh, look at his resume. This is exactly what I want, and he's proficient at it. Bring him in. Oh, and he's a beast with recruiting. Yeah, young guy, come on in. You see what I'm saying? Like it's not just randomness. So yeah, I mean, to me, it's like it makes sense. What the hire makes sense the more that you think about it.
I'm actually more and more excited about the hire the more and more I see it.
Yeah,
To be honest, the more I dig into it. At first, I got to be honest. When our buddy brought his name up to us like 2 days before he was announced,
yeah,
my first reaction, who the heck is?
Right.
Oh my gosh! Now you don't immediately just discount him. Always from Virginia Tech, he's offensive coordinator. Wasn't their offense kind of up and down? I don't know. Then you're like, well, he's not coming to be the play caller. He's not coming to be the offensive coordinator. Okay, well, let's look at his history about the run game, and that's where I dug deep into this, and I want to talk about it this episode because I think people should actually be legitimately kind of excited about what he could bring to the table, and so far as his run game is concerned. I think his best work in the run game has been teaching physical downhill run schemes with emphasis on gap blocking, pulling technique, like I said, improving line cohesion, and he works within the inside zone, which obviously is Day's base. Here's the thing. I think Day is trying to create a situation in running game that makes us more balanced. We obviously know Day likes versatility, unpredictability, and I think the Michigan game, we harkened back to that. We talked about it already. Was the wake up call for Ryan Day, even though we succeeded in the playoffs. Maybe that was just cherry on the top. Like maybe, you know what, it's right. I need to be able to be more versatile in my run game, and I have to hire somebody who can coach to that versatility that I desire.
Yeah.
Do you think Michigan? I think Michigan is a wake up call in his hiring process. Now, granted, everybody says, "Well, we didn't know Justin Fry and Chip Kelly were leaving." You can't tell me Ryan Day and Chip Kelly and Justin Fry hadn't had those conversations. That he wasn't aware that it could possibly happen.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And just to confirm that, listen, I'm I'm obsessed with press conferences and interviews. I know.
Yeah, he
I
watches them
listen
all
to
the time.
all,
Yeah.
but I'm telling you, you get little nuggets of knowledge. You hear things, and so this is one thing I heard. Ryan Day confirmed on one of his gajillion interviews, since he won the ship, that him and Chip Kelly had talked. Like
Mhm.
like you said, the potential of him leaving. Like, listen, the mission was clear. Come help me win this ship, brother. Come in here, call these plays. Let's get this trophy. And if you want to bang out, bang out. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
that's me paraphrasing what Day said that they discussed
I
because
think
he
he
was
said the
talking.
words "bang out." Actually, that was his
Yes, he
actual
said, and he
phrase.
had a do rag on. You know what I'm saying? When he said
He
it,
he's gangsta, man. I'll tell you.
you know what I'm saying? So
Ryan Day loved that halftime show. He hates Drake.
that which reminds me of Ryan Day giving who was it? Cameron the bag of Old State swag, saying he grew up on Cameron and Mace. I don't know if y'all seen that, but listen, Ryan
I
Day
did
is
not see
cooler than
that.
you think. Yes, he grew up on hip hop. But anyway, we getting sidetracked. New
Yeah.
Hampshire, baby. Anyway, all right. So
We're the rap capital of the world. Yeah.
New Hampshire's most wanted. Anyway, listen,
Straight out of New Hampshire. Yeah.
you're getting off. You're throwing it off the rails, Corey. Stop it.
I'm trying. I don't know, man. I'm too much fun.
It's like, nah, no, but what was I saying? Yes, okay. He was talking to who was he talking to? Was it Urban Meyer or Klatt or someone? It was Klatt. And
Probably
he was
Clap.
saying how him and Chip Kelly was talking about how they're gonna have a beer 20 years from now, talking about what they did. But in that story, he was talking about how they knew the assignment. Chip was coming here for a reason. He knew the possibility of him leaving was there. And yes, Justin Fry, I don't think he was surprised. These guys, people think they just show up and they're just robots and okay, you call the
Yeah.
play. And no, they're talking, they're venting, they're beefing, they're laughing, they're talking about, man, these old line recruits, this David Sanders Jr. is a prima donna diva. I can't listen, man. I can't take this no more. You know what I'm saying? There's real conversations that happen. So no, Ryan Day was not completely befuddled by these coaches leaving, y'all. So
Actually,
of
he looked
course
more
he had a
relaxed than
plan.
ever. He was like, "Yeah, we're good. I'm running around with my trophy. They're leaving. Whatever.
Right.
I'll
I
find some. I got."
mean, yeah, he probably got on the phone with Saban too. Like, yo, how'd you keep recycling coaches every 2 years? So yeah, man, he knew he had a game plan.
Oh yeah. I mean, again, Ryan Day knew second he won the title. Now I think Jim Knowles legitimately kind of surprised him, but other than that,
Yes.
uh,
Yeah, that's the
uh,
outlier. That is the
yeah, that is
outlier.
the outlier. But I don't think. I mean, he's on the offensive side of the ball. He's talking with all the offensive coaches for sure. I mean, and that's why I believe he knows that Hartline's ready to be a play caller. Even though people are like,
Yeah.
well, in 2023, Hartline screwed it. It could. I mean, okay. Maybe he wasn't good at it back then. Maybe he's given Day reason to believe he'll be good at it now. People do improve, Brandon. It's a novel concept, but people
Yeah.
do improve. It's kind of funny. It's like the Burrow debate. It's like, how do we let Burrow out? Burrow of 2018 was not Joe Burrow of
Thank
2019.
you. Thank you. I did a whole write up about that too. Like the time, I don't know if you remember that. I was so irritated by that narrative.
I think I do remember
I
that.
Yes, I did a whole write up from the timeline from start to finish of what actually happened and why he transferred and why Haskins started. But anyway, real quick, Eric, the Ohio podcast, he said, who is going to be the better running back in this gap scheme, Peoples or Donaldson? Did you have a answer for that, Corey?
Actually, Donaldson fits the gap really well, but they ran a lot of zone at West Virginia. So it's interesting to bring him in, but he's not a laterally quick guy. He's a downhill
Right,
runner.
right,
And
which is
Gap
what
is
we need
Yeah,
to balance
Gap
off of
is more
Peoples.
focused on downhill guys because you're not kind of making decisions. It's like the
Right,
gap's supposed to be there. It may
right.
not be. Tegra Shabola might have missed the block.
Oh, Tegra, man, come on, bro. Get with Bentley in the off season, bro.
Somebody. Jeez.
Get them feet right.
I'm just saying, like everybody else did their job. Bennett got his guy. Tegra's just wandering around, and Trevian's like, well, I'll take care of it. I got it, I guess. And just for the record, Donaldson is not Trevian Henderson. Just being real.
Not at all. Totally different guy. Ohio podcast said New Hampshire mount up.
Eric.
Regulators
Oh
mount up.
man. Rough Riders
Anyway,
in New Hampshire. But anyway.
yeah.
But that being said, yeah, that's why I was wondering about it, Brandon. Let's go into the running backs. I do want to talk about how they're going to blend it, but we'll get in that a little bit. I want to talk about the running back situation. Obviously, Sam William Dixon comes back. I think there's a reason for that. I really do. I don't think it's just he couldn't find a suitor. I do believe if he wanted to go to like Cincinnati would have taken him or
Yeah.
somebody. I think he came back for a reason. He represents a type of running back we don't really have on the roster outside of maybe Turbo Rogers. And Turbo Rogers is not going to be ready to play right now. And I think Turbo is going to end up in a Xavier Johnson role anyway. But
Yeah,
I
I
do.
agree.
I like Turbo. I think he's going to be a key player down the road. But right now, got to get his body right to play college football. But Samuel William Dixon, he can play that outside zone. He can play that edge rush.
Yeah,
He's got a little bit more versatility than in that regard than James Peoples or um, Donaldson. But I'll tell you one thing about I have now limited action we have of James Peoples. I think he's going to be RB1 all day long, and I
for
think he's
sure.
going to get 60% of the carries.
Yeah,
I think he's more. I think he's more suited to play in the inside zone and the gap and switch it back and forth, and he can be versatile enough to get that outside zone at times. I just think CJ is going to be here as a complimentary back, and I really believe that. And not to knock him, maybe he proves me wrong. He ends up running for 1,500 yards, but I just don't see it. He doesn't have the lateral quickness of James Peoples. That's a big problem of his. I think I could see CJ if he's a good blocker. You see a lot of like wham block or stuff like because you can disguise the zone and the power together if you have that hybrid back who can block and block that backside defender. It'd be a little interesting. In fact, that Clemson game you were mentioning, I remember J.K. taking that big long run. Don't remember if it
yes,
was a TD or not, but it was
touchdown. Yeah,
there was no backside blocker, right? The backside defender was open, but he's like, I got Justin Fields or J.K. What the heck am I going to do? And
right.
Justin Fields sold it beautifully and gave J.K. just enough room. And that's the way we used to block the backside defender. But sometimes Ohio State gets a split zone or something along those lines and gets that HB into the freaking backside defender to give that guy some space. I wonder if that'll be CJ's role for James Peoples. I just wonder how much we're going to feature him. I think we're going to feature him a lot this year. I could be terribly wrong.
Feature
And
peoples.
yeah, Peoples.
Yeah, I
I think
agree.
he's going to be the feature guy this year for
Oh
sure.
yeah, he's the man. Go ahead.
Oh no. I was just saying it got me off on a tangent on that because I thought about it last night and I thought it was more 50-50 split. And I looked more into my notes today and talked a little more of a deep dive. I'm like, no, I think this offense is going to fit. It's not the offense is going to only fit Peoples, but I think he's going to be the most versatile for
Yes,
the balance of the offense between the inside zone and in those gaps. So it'll be kind of interesting to see how that plays out. But I think CJ offers some leadership in that room because he's a senior or I think he's a senior this year, and obviously just short yard. He's going to be the short yardage guy for sure.
yep.
You're going to put him on that goal line. Say tackle is 6'4", 240-pound monster. Go ahead, have at it. Um, so I think it's another exercise in Ryan Day trying to become better in those short yardage situations to keep drives going because
Yes,
those things are just air out of your sail killers. If you get 4th and 1 and you just get stopped, and all of a sudden all the momentum's
yes,
on their side.
yes. It is.
And we ain't gonna have a 6'5", 350-pound quarterback this year or whatever it is
Right.
to run forward. Julian Sands not tiny, but he's slight. He's a little bit on the
Yes.
smaller side, and he's not a guy you just tush push with. I don't.
Right. Not at all. So that's a good point. Yeah, we don't have Will Howard to lean forward to get a yard. So that's definitely Donaldson is going to be key. And I'm also wondering if Bo Jackson,
He can
I
stay
think he,
healthy. Yeah.
yeah. Here's the thing. I actually looked him up yesterday, not yesterday, but this weekend
Mm-hmm.
because I was concerned about his injury. I thought he tore something, but apparently he didn't. He just banged his knee up and just he couldn't finish the season, obviously, and so he didn't need any surgery and all that. So that leads me to believe he should be healthy. He should be fully healthy,
Mm-hmm.
and with his size and speed and talent, he's going to fight legitimately for that third string, slot with Sam Williams Dixon. His talent, his
Yeah.
ceiling is obviously higher than Sam Williams Dixon, but Sam Williams Dixon has been here for a whole season. He knows the playbook more. But I'm just saying, Bo Jackson, he might be a stud. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, I agree, and it ain't gonna bother me if he stands out as a freshman. I think we
Yeah.
got if we're talking about freshmen, they're gonna probably stand out this year. It's gonna be Devin Sanchez and Riley Pettyjohn. So how we got to get somebody on the offensive side of the ball to stand out. Quincy Porter, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the receiver room's so loaded. I mean, how does he really? He can't. He's not going to have Jeremiah Smith style stand
No.
out. So,
No. Maybe it's some blowouts. He might pluck a few nice catches and show some things. But yeah, you're right. Offensively, we need somebody to pop. And I do think Porter and Bo Jackson are the obvious two that kind of jump out as a real possibility.
yeah, absolutely. And of course, defense got a ton of guys this year that can pop. But anyway, going on that, it's like, what is it? What does it say for what Ryan Day has plans for Julian Sand? We all know Julian Sand's the guy. Let's just be real. It ain't. I mean, we're talking competition. I saw a guy on Twitter the other day. Man, Tavian's going to be a problem for Julian Saint. I'm like, buddy, you're going to read all the reports how Tavian's killing it in the workouts, and you're
Right.
going to say so that means he's already at where Julian is as a quarterback in college football. I think
Mhm.
Tavian's got a bright future. I think he's going to be great. I love him. I love that he's a Buckeye. I am fully supportive of him. But right now, it's not his time.
Yeah.
And Julian Saint will be the guy. Let's just be real about it. But he's a young quarterback.
Yeah.
And Ryan Day is going to have to navigate this. You know, he did it with Justin Fields as a sophomore in 2019, going back to the year we talked about with the run game. That's why I think this year, upcoming year, if James Peoples and CJ Donaldson and Tyler Bowen all work out, we're going to mirror that year quite a bit offensively. I see Julian saying, I see us doing a lot of play action out of that gap and inside zone to give that one read to Julian saying to move those linebackers to open up short route, intermediate routes for him just to toss the ball.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think we'll see a lot of 12 personnel as well.
Yeah.
I think we're going to implement those packages, some tightness. Because remember, y'all, Max Clare is a dog.
Yeah.
Max Clare from Purdue, the
And
kid
he's
we
a better
picked up from
blocker
Purdue.
than people realize.
Exactly. He is an NFL tight end. Like he's probably going to be one of the best tight ends we've had in a long time. And so remember that because he's going to be a safety net. Obviously our receiver core is dope, but Max Clare down the seam, bro, it's going to be a lot of that.
And Max Clare is most dangerous off of play action, by the way, which is
Yeah.
what the inside zone is built off of, and
Right.
the gap schemes are built off because the gap schemes to sell the run and
Yep.
get those linebackers chasing. So
Yep.
all of a sudden, Max Clare's streaming down. He may chip a linebacker, but he's streaming down the seam, and Julian Saint doesn't have to do anything but look at it, make sure the safety's not hovering, and just look at it.
Absolutely correct. And so yeah, Cory's right about that. It's like that's what's so powerful about that inside zone concept is that everything looks the same.
Mhm.
It looks the same. And once you get them linebackers flowing and biting, like Cory said, right there, boom, weapons. So yeah, I think a lot of short intermediate passes, like you said. I think Brandon Ennis. I brought this up on my pod yesterday. I think he's going to be like I see KJ Hill with him.
Mhm.
A lot of short chain moving routes, eating up that slot. Just physical, reliable guy. Sayin will have a lot around him to really kind of just hold him up, but he just has to make good decisions. But I think Ryan Day and Hartline is going to put him in a really good spot to do that. He has the quickest release I can ever remember of any quarterback we've had.
That's a good point. CJ was close, so CJ had a really quick release.
CJ was close. CJ's I think is the better overall talent, at least right now. But his release, Sayin's release is just lightning quick. It's crazy.
Well, his mechanics are incredible for a high school. Gabe basically out of high school. I mean, that was the big thing about him. He's accurate, strong enough arm. I'm not saying he has an elite arm, but he's strong enough. I'd say he has like a Joe Burrow arm.
Okay, that's definitely strong enough.
It's strong enough. I'm not saying it's like, oh gosh, I'm not talking Joe Burrow circa 2015 when he would float everything. Remember back in the day, he'd throw it to the flat. It'd take 6 minutes to get there. It's like,
right.
How he turned into what he is now, I don't know. But I think he's got the same arm strength that Joe Burrow had when he was a senior at LSU, and known as a very accurate quarterback, quick release, mechanics are really good. Sometimes his footwork kind of betrays him, but Ryan Day is a big footwork guy. He cannot stand quarterbacks with bad footwork. So he's going to work on that with him because that pass that he made that was a duck that went to the ground at the flat. A lot of people like to point at that one and go, look, he's terrible QB. I was like, nah, his footwork betrayed him on that one.
I agree. Because he did that a couple times actually.
Yeah.
Skipping it, it's just like, what's going on, Julian? But obviously he won the Elite 11. Saban wanted him. South Florida Express wanted him. I mean, he's good. We've seen highlights. He's capable.
Yeah.
So that kind of reinforces my confidence in him going forward, even though there's been a couple things I was like, hold on now. That wasn't pretty, Julian, but he'll be good.
And you know what I like about going back to the run game? You know what I like about the idea of maybe, again, I'm not predicting anything. I don't know. I'm not in the locker room. Thank God nobody wants me there, I promise. It's like, what's this 41-year-old podcaster? Okay. No, but I mean, what I like about the idea of it is, Ryan Day likes to use the outside zone to stretch out the defense a little bit, loosen things up. I mean, you know what Urban Meyer used to do was the bubble screens. That was his way of trying to
Oh
loosen
yeah,
up the defense. I am so glad we don't do that nearly as often. I could not stand that play. Only time I ever liked that play, Paris Johnson, because it just didn't matter. He could break it. But
right.
that being said, what I like about this is the fact that you spend all this time and you're stretching the defense and you're wearing it out, you're moving it side to side, and then you get them spread out, and then you hit them with a quick hitter up the middle
Yeah.
with a power physically power like a counter or a gap power down the middle, specifically to Donaldson or Peoples, who's going to be tough to tackle in its own right.
Hmm.
Because I don't know if you all saw that picture of him running. I hope I don't ever piss him off.
That boy is rocked up. I mean,
Jeez.
he's fast and physical. Yeah, I'm excited
And
about Peoples, man.
he looks uninterested.
Yeah, his face expression was just like, "Ho I'm running fast."
Look at my
But yeah,
guns. Yeah. It's like,
right.
jeez. I'll put it this way. Do you want to tackle, I mean, if you wear out the defense all game, do you want to tackle James Peoples up the middle with Luke Montgomery and Carson Hinsman possibly, or Austin Severold, or somebody pulling and just actually probably be more Luke Montgomery the tight end, or say Will Kazmarek just beating on you?
Yeah. That's a lot, man. I'm glad you brought him up too, because I know some people didn't like him, but he was a good blocker, man.
That's what they brought him in for. They didn't bring him in to be a receiver.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like people just be like, oh, he sucks. Like, dude, like he shouldn't be starting. Well, like it depends on what play we're running first.
Yeah.
If he's gonna start. Like
He
he's a
won't start
good
over Max
physical.
Clare. Just go ahead and
Right,
write that
right.
down.
But I mean, with 12 personnel,
Oh, he'll be in
those
there.
two in there, oh, and we running the ball. Oh, give me that all day
And if
with
if
those two in there.
Thurman, if the light goes on for Jelani Thurman, because he is a good blocker when he wants to be,
Hmm.
if the light goes on for him as a blocker and a receiver with Max Clare in the game, those two, that ain't fair.
No, especially in the red zone.
Oh gosh, you could split Jelani Thurman out wide and say, go against their top quarter. Who cares? He's 6'1". You
Yep.
know,
I mean,
or
but on the other side, you got Jeremiah Smith split. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many
yeah.
things you could sneak Claire out. You could have him lined up tight. You know, there's so many things you can do with those tall pass catchers.
With those two on the sideline, you could literally have Claire run a mesh and put Peoples out in the flat. Oh my gosh, you could just kill it in the red zone. All because they have to respect the downhill run game all of a sudden.
Yeah, I mean,
And those
Roland,
linebackers will crash.
if we get that together, man, and that's again going full circle. Ryan Day, he knows what he wants to do. He went after who he felt could help deliver that,
Hmm.
and so I'm excited about the prospect of that, man, of Bowen coming in and because again, I think Fry was a really good coach. Obviously, he's getting paid a lot of money in NFL. He's a good
Yeah,
coach.
but it is the Cardinals. No, I'm kidding.
All right, that doesn't count. That's like the CFL.
Yeah,
That's like arena football. No, I'm joking. But no, I mean, like he's a good O-line coach, but recruiting was debatable to at minimum,
yeah, it
and,
was.
and then his ability, because it was always some herky jerkiness. It just seemed like things didn't click
Hmm.
consistently, and I know we were trying to. I heard Ryan Day say this a couple years ago. We wanted to be multiple with the zone and gap scheme. That he
Hmm.
said that. I know what
Well,
he
then
wants.
that
Cory
even makes
knows.
more sense with Tyler Bowen, then, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Like so, I'm saying like this hire. The more that you zoom in on it and research it and look into it, it makes sense. The question is, can he deliver? And obviously, Ryan Day believes he can. His resume says he can.
Yeah.
So you know, we'll see. I'm excited. I'm
You know
excited
what?
about that.
This is a true statement. You look at his resume, wherever he was someplace for more than a year, and look, he didn't get fired at Jacksonville. Urban Meyer got fired at Jacksonville.
Right.
He didn't get fired at Maryland. He went on to Penn State, which you can say what you want. Penn State's obviously a bigger program than Maryland.
Yeah, then
Uh,
Maryland. Right.
but he gets promoted every time. I mean, they love him so much. They keep giving him new titles, more money, more responsibility. I think that says something good about the hire, wouldn't you?
Yes, and he's called plays. I mean, we can
Hmm.
say, well, you know, there's no evidence that he was prolific because he was at Virginia Tech or somewhere, but the fact that he's called plays, because listen, like Ryan Day he's exercising the rule of hiring all these coaches. He is literally doing the same. And we have a gajillion analysts now. We have several offensive line
Charles Dickey,
analysts.
Marcus Johnson, and now
Right.
helping with the offensive line.
Yeah, bro. He wants minds in there to collaborate. And with Bowen having experience calling plays, with a new play caller stepping in, you just have another guy who can just reinforce and just, undergird and support and have another set of eyes. All of that stuff that matters, y'all. That
And,
matters. So
and quietly, and I think Heartland's going to succeed. Let's just say that right now. I am saying right now he's going to succeed. I'm putting it on tape. But if he doesn't, you have a backup plan.
yeah,
And it's not necessarily Ryan Day grabbing the headset again. Which, look, Johnny and I have said it. I know you agree, Brandon. If Ryan Day were the offensive coordinator, have him call plays all day long. That dude is one of the greatest play callers in all college football. Period. Let's be real. But it's too much to be head coach and play callers. That's the only reason why we ever say we don't want him calling plays.
right. Exactly.
But Ryan Day is a phenomenal head coach, an elite head coach, but just don't take on more than you can do. So now, if Heartline, for whatever reason, comes to him mid-season, like, dude, I can't do it. It's just not me. You got Tyler Bowen, who has experience play calling in the building. And you're saying, well, it was Virginia Tech. Well, you know what? I read some reviews about that, Brandon. Turns out what would happen with Virginia Tech is it would take them a minute to get going, and then their offense would start to take off as they figured out what their personnel was. Because honestly, I think Virginia Tech had such a, let's just say, a level of talent that wasn't clear at Ohio, like Ohio State's is.
Yeah.
And it's took a while to kind of figure out what they could do, and Tyler Bowen would eventually figure that out. And people say, well, it's too little too late. Well, I hate to tell you, Virginia Tech's not winning any championships, Tyler Bowen or no Tyler Bowen. So
Right.
is what it is.
Little easier to figure out when you got a Ferrari, a Bentley, a hot rod, like and then not only that, but you have Ryan Day as your guide. Because again, Ryan Day is no longer the spring season chicken, with barbecue sauce and Carolina Gold.
Oh man, now I'm getting hungry. God.
Yeah, me too, bro. I need to stop. Matter of fact, after this, I'm going to the fridge. I already know what I'm grabbing.
I need some chicken wings now.
Yeah, I mean, is Rooster still open? I have to check. I got a Rooster's gift card. But anyway,
since I got the braces off, I've neglected to get chicken wings like a dummy.
Oh, see, yeah, bro, you tripping?
I know.
Listen, y'all owe me a check, Roosters. I just shot a commercial for y'all. Make checks payable to B Moses dot something. But anyway, what the heck was I saying? Yes, Ryan Day. At the end of the day, Heartline, Bowen, whoever analyst, Ryan Day is the ultimate guy to make sure everything's on the right path, is structured right, and all that. I mean, they have a great safety net to fall back on. He is the guy now. And honestly, we all joke about how refreshed he looked after the Natty, going on all these interviews. I really do believe this dude got a second win because, listen, I was nervous he was going to be tapped out after all the stuff he went through with his family and just everything. And he talking about I'm trying to win multiple championships. I'm trying to be the first Ohio State coach since Woody Hayes to do this. And he just seems like he's ready to go. So I'm even more excited, man. It's just like he unlocked, in the video games, he unlocked something. I know we have to deal with that team up north, and we will. I'm confident we will. I do think
I actually agree with you on that.
I think this is going to help him because it's like, even though that hasn't been solved per se, and there's a lot to go along with that I'm not going to get into, but it really helps to get the ultimate biggest monkey off your back to say, you know what, if I can do that, then I know I can do this. And so I think that's just going to help reinforce that. But anyway, that's a whole nother pod.
No, I get you. So Tyler Bowen, man, we're gonna give this a paper grade. It's not complete till the season comes if we see the product, but paper grade, I'm giving this an A- higher. What do you think?
I'm gonna go with an A.
Mm-hmm.
Not an A plus, not an A minus. I'm gonna go at an A because there's nothing on his resume that suggests it's a bad hire. But then when you add that onto the fact of what we all just put out there on the table for everybody, of the reasoning behind the hire, what Day wants, schematically, what he brings, how it looks like a good mesh. To me, that's why I'm giving it an A. Of course, listen, he could be complete trash and we
Mm.
grade him an F next year, or he can be great and be an A plus. But right now, I think based off all of that, I'm going to give the higher an A.
The only thing that knocks it down for me a little bit is he hasn't strictly coached Ohio our offensive line by itself in a while.
Yeah.
But other than that, he obviously has a good reputation with it, and he's done well. But his recruiting, to kind of see what he's trying to do with Ryan Day schematically, I think makes sense. I like the fact that Ryan Day is fulfilling his word, saying I want to be more multiple, more versatile with those two different run schemes, and
Mhm.
that gets a guy who is a little bit more primed with gap scheme, but knows how to coach zone as well. Because Ryan Day ain't giving up the zone, and nobody is, by the way. That's everybody
Right.
these days. That's not a
Correct.
Ryan Day hang up. That's and by the way,
Yeah.
Ryan Day. This is a funny thing, Brandon. Ryan Day keeps getting called soft, right? We're a finesse team. We're a Big 12 team. Let me tell you something. The inside zone plus the gap integrated with the gap scheme and counter and power and between the A and C gaps. That's a downhill physical style. And for people who say, "Oh, Ryan Day's soft," I'm like, no, he wants his run game to be downhill and physical.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's all. Listen, the soft thing has always been stupid, and it started with the scum losses, which are tainted and fraudulent. Number one. So let's start with that.
Except for this past one, right?
Except for this past one, yeah, exactly. This past one was legit. We blew it. It was in his head, and we lost. And we can
But like you
go
said, it's part in his head because of what happened the last 3 years.
exactly, exactly. So yeah, those three before last year are tainted and fraudulent. So, but they started the soft narrative, and our butthurt fans, some of them wanted to carry that with them and say, "Yeah, we are soft," because they were so salty. There was nothing soft about it. And he's always, like you said, he's always wanted to do that. That's always been what he wanted to do. He did that in 2019. Think about this, because again, I had to remind people we ran the ball a lot in 2019,
Yeah,
y'all. Dobbins had
2,000-yard
2,000
rusher.
yards. Like we weren't a finesse passing team. We ran the ball,
And
and
we
we
did
ran the
that to
ball.
cover some of Justin Fields' youth.
Yeah, that too. But also the personnel and what we had to work with
That's
made it
true.
easier for Ryan Day to run. Again, there's been so much inconsistency and clunkiness
Mhm.
with the O line and all that other stuff, that I think, again, even when Ryan Day was criticized for trying to force the run too much, like even that was an indicator. Like he's not he wants to run and he's
Yeah.
trying to get his team going and going. And it's just like, okay, you have to find that fine line to when to back off and when to keep pushing. Because sometimes as you keep pushing, you'll break through. But if you
I do
back off, you won't. It's that
I
tough balance. You know what I'm saying?
I do think at times with CJ, he got a little too giddy in the past. Not because I mean, and he even admitted that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I I get it though. You have literally a Lamborghini quarterback.
Right. Exactly.
I mean,
Yeah. I mean, it's hard. It's even on Madden or something. It's like
yeah.
you got to match up, and it's like you want to keep exploiting it, but that's coaching.
I mean, when you have Olave, Wilson, Harrison, Igbuka, Nick you got a lot of weapons, and you got a quarterback who can throw it into an 8-inch box perfectly. So it's like,
Right, exactly. Like it's
uh,
just like it's tempting when you
yeah,
have CJ Stroud just dropping dimes
mhm.
after dime.
Yeah, it's like putting chicken wings right in front of both of us right now. It ain't gonna last.
Not at all, though. I could tear some wings up right now.
Oh man, give me some honey mustard or lemon pepper or whatever. I'm going off on them. So, what's your flavor before we end tonight? What?
So it depends on where I go, but Roosters, I do Carolina Gold mixed
Okay,
with donkey. And then sometimes I'll mix it with garlic. You can mix up to 3 sauces. So those are the 3 I usually do. Wingstop, I do Louisiana rub and lemon pepper. That's
I
the
love
2 I
lemon
mess with.
pepper. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so yeah, man.
All right, man. We got it. So hey, you didn't. You came here for the football, and you got some wing recommendations. I mean, you're getting everything tonight. So, Brandon, tell them where they can find you, brother.
All right, so a few places. Buckeye Sports Talk with B Moses on Facebook. I'm approaching 35K
Are you
right now.
what?
Yep, 35,000. My goal is 50K by kickoff versus Texas. That is my goal. But yeah, bro, Paige is doing extremely well. Buckeye
Can you
Sports Talk with B
monetize that
Moses
thing?
on IG. You said what?
Can you monetize that thing?
We'll talk offline.
All right, I
But
got you.
but yeah, IG, same channel. Twitter is bmoses30 on Twitter. I'm even on TikTok now, as bmoses. Yeah, bmoses. And what else? Of course, Buckeye Scoop. I do a show with my brother Funky Buck every Sunday PM at 6 p.m. We go live for about an hour and we talk Buckeye football, Buckeye, whatever's relevant. So make sure you lock in there as well. And I feel like I'm forgetting something else. Oh, yeah, one other thing. I dropped a song a couple months ago called You Know What Time It Is, featuring former linebacker, 2014 national champion Curtis Grant. It's on all the streaming services. I will be shooting a video for that soon. So make sure you go and save that on, excuse me, on your playlist. Yeah.
Well, okay, Brandon admitting to everybody he is a Chinese spy on TikTok. So I appreciate you. I appreciate
Oh,
your
wow.
honesty with that one. Oh, you're the last person I would have suspected, but
I mean, listen, man, you gotta get that money under the table.
I get you. Trust me, I could be bought. Absolutely, I could be bought for like a platter of wings right now. Yeah, sure, I'll betray my government. Whatever,
Bro.
but I won't root for the team up north. You can't buy me that way.
Nope.
Unless,
Not at all. That's just crossing the line.
I don't know. You give me generational money.
Then we might just have to throw
We
in
might be talking then. Like, if I ain't got to work ever again in my life because my kids ain't got to work ever. Oh, well, maybe I'll be like a go blue here and there. But
yeah, every now and then I'll put on a urine and blue jersey and then burn it immediately after.
Yeah, urine and blue jersey. I'll be doing that after I wear the jersey. But anyway, guys, we appreciate you as always. Check out the call-in show coming up Thursday on the OHIO podcast. Smash that! I love that Eric does it. I'm copying it. Smash that like button. Share the channel with a friend if you like what you see. Even if you don't, maybe they'll like it. Even if you didn't. And then also, guys, subscribe if you can. Hit that bell to whenever we go live or whenever something's going on. You won't miss it. We appreciate you guys as always. Goodbye. God bless. Go Bucks. OH.
Ayo. Let's get it.